Welcome back to TYT Sports, everybody. Time to talk some National Basketball Association. A little bit of history for you, and we're going to rank or come to a consensus of who is the best shooter of all time. This is something that constantly gets debated because there's a fundamental difference between great shooters, great scorers, which combine different elements of putting that ball into the hoop, and great all-around players. We've done rankings for positions. You can check those out in the description box below for best point guards all time, so on and so forth. However, Hoops Hype had a poll where the fans were able to rank who they thought the best shooters were in a ranker-style way, and this is what they came up with for numbers 1 through number 10. And we're going to kind of go back and forth with my man Andre Snelling, who's back on the platform to break this down with us. So let's take a look, first off, at the top 10 shooters according to Hoops Hype. Number 1, Stephen Curry. Interesting. Career not even over. Number 2, the Splash Father, Ray Allen. Number 3, Larry Bird, who, if you follow B-Ball Breakdown, was posting some hilariously awesome gifs of Larry Bird yesterday on Twitter. Number 4, Reggie Miller. I think number 3.5 should be Cheryl Miller. Number 5, Dirk Nowitzki. 6, Steve Nash, a very underrated shooter, known more for his passing, but was a fantastic, fantastic three-point shooter and mid-range shooter. Number 7, Peja. Number 8, Petrovic. 9, Steph Curry's other half, Klay Thompson. And number 10, Kyle Korver. So, Andre, when we were going back and forth on the email, you were very quick to say these words, and they were?
Number 1 is Steph Curry. I mean, there's no way around that.
No way around. No way it's still Ray Allen.
No, I mean, Ray was the best shooter I'd ever seen until Steph Curry, but Steph can shoot like Ray, but seemingly with more range and off the dribble. You know, I mean, there's kind of no other way to put it. You know, Steph could almost, it seems like, shoot Ray Allen's percentages from like 28 feet out, you know, off the dribble. So
it's so ridiculous. It really is. And Ray Allen, you know what's so interesting about Ray Allen, too, is, you know, for people around my age, we remember Ray Allen more for being a corner three-point shooter, except when you look back at all the tape of him on the Supersonics, great slasher, great at attacking the rim, and just had so many different tools to his game, which is what made him such a great player. When he went to the Celtics, his role pretty much changed throughout the rest of his career. He didn't need to fill those. He didn't need those tools anymore because he had the likes of your favorite Kevin Garnett and, of course, Paul Pierce, and eventually the rise of Rajon Rondo at the point. So it's just to anybody watching the clip, I encourage you to watch 1990s highlights of Ray Allen to remind yourself of how fantastic of an all-around player he was, and of course as a shooter as well. I agree with you on Steph Curry. I know it's only been 3 years of this Steph Curry build, but I don't see, aside from just dramatic injuries to this man's career, which I would pray on nobody, that this is going to stop. I think he's still going to throw up the percentages or something close to those percentages, still knock down clear over 200 three-pointers a year made. In terms of the rest of the list, though, Larry Bird, one of the most dominant mid-range scorers in the game, played an entirely different era of basketball. However, when you watch Larry Bird tape, you could also make a solid argument that he's one of the best shooters ever. Do you agree that Larry Bird is number 3 or 4 on that list, or should he have been bumped up a little bit higher?
see, it all comes back to what you said earlier. Like, you know, there's pure shooters, there's players, there's scorers. Like Larry Bird is probably the best great player that could shoot that we've ever had.
That's a good point.
But and also, I mean, you know, I used to live in terror of Larry Bird. Like when I was growing up, Dr. J was my favorite player. He played for Philadelphia, and then Magic was my second favorite player. So Bird was like the enemy, and he was the one you never wanted him open because you knew he was going to make it.
Right.
But like you said, it was a different era. The 3-point line was a new thing. It had just come over from the ABA. It wasn't. I mean, Bird would win 3-point contests, but if you look at his volume, you know, he hardly ever shot threes. So it's really hard for me to say that he should be this high on a list of pure distance shooters. I wouldn't have him at number 3 because I know for a fact I'd have Klay Thompson higher than both of them.
If we're going to talk about the prettiest shot in the NBA right now, I don't know if there's a more fundamentally beautiful looking shot than Klay Thompson's. Like Steph Curry might be able to do it from farther away. He might be hitting him at a better percentage. However, Klay Thompson still, and I think the worst thing I see on the internet today is when they keep showing those big 3 graphics with Draymond, Kevin Durant and Steph Curry. It's so not fair to Klay Thompson after everything he's done. Granted, he does embrace being a second fiddle, or I guess a fourth fiddle, or a third fiddle, depending on where you want to put him, to that Warriors team. I think it's actually part of the reason why they are so successful as the Splash Brothers is because there doesn't seem to be a dying fight for having to make the most threes. They kind of build off of each other. But Klay Thompson's got a pretty shot. So does Ray Allen. Now, Andre, there's a little bit of a tangent to go on because I made a second graphic card. If we can go to element D12, they forgot one shooter on this list, and I'm going to tell you why, and you get to tell me if I'm insane. J.R. Smith. And you say, how could you say J.R. Smith, a top 10 greatest shooter of all time? Andre Snellings, have you taken a look at J.R. Smith's numbers recently by any chance?
I have not looked at them closely recently. I have not.
I am not sure how ugly the advanced analytics are. However, J.R. Smith is on pace at about 31 years of age to finish in the top 5 for most three-pointers made in NBA history. He knocked down 200 last year. If he does that rate, even 150 a year, for the next 8 years, he'd crack Ray Allen's mark. Now, guys like Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and the rise of other three-point shooters in the league likely going to blow by him in the long run. But could you imagine for just a second if Ray Allen was the second most three-pointer? He passed Ray Allen. J.R. Smith, shirtless J.R. Smith. His bust won't have a shirt in the Hall of Fame.
See, that's the thing. You know, three-point shooting, like we talked about, it's a newer thing. And so, you know, if you look at the top 5 list or top 10 list, I mean, yeah, Ray Allen's on there,
Jason
but
Kidd's on
I think,
there too.
Yeah, Jason Kidd's on there. I mean, it's guys that you don't think of as just ridiculous three-point shooters that are on the list just because it's only been in the last decade or so that it's really, really picked up. You know, even in Reggie Miller's time, he was hitting a lot of threes compared to everybody else, but the league wasn't shooting nearly as much. So, yeah, somebody like J.R. Smith, I mean, he pulls the trigger. So, you know, he's had a lot more opportunity than some of the earlier cats, you know, like the Larry Birds of the world, or a guy that was on the top, I guess, top 32 list that Hoops Hype had that we didn't talk about. I mean, Jerry West. Yeah. If they'd had a three-point line, then maybe he would be on this list because he was a wet shooter. So, you know, yeah, J.R. Smith is he's gonna have some great volume, but I don't think he belongs on anybody's top anything list as far as three-point shooters.
I had to bring him up just because he's so polarizing. No, he's not a top 10 shooter of all time. He might not be a top 30 shooter of all time. But just imagine a world that we would live in if J.R. Smith made the most three-pointers in NBA history for just maybe a week. Just a week.
Oh, yeah.
It would be great. There was a couple names we didn't get to on the list, but you can battle it out in the comments section below. Dirk Nowitzki, obviously a fantastic shooter, future Hall of Famer, one of the greatest international players, if not the greatest international player of all time. The championship ring, everything he did on that run will go down in history. As always, guys like Steve Nash never get enough love as a shooter, because he was also so brilliant. Because what did he do better than shooting? He passed better than almost anybody else in the league at the time. If not, actually did pass better than everybody else in the league at the time. Truly a good player as well. And of course, Peja deserves some love because no one ever talks about Peja anymore. But comment below. Let us know who you think your rankings are for best shooter. I have to make this so abundantly clear because someone's going to go like, this is your ranking for greatest of all time? No Jordan? Are you crazy?
Yep.
All right, make sure to follow Andre at Professor DRZ on Twitter. Make sure to check out the Hoops Lab. It's its own blog now on hoopslab.rotowire.com. He's doing a lot of really fun stuff over there. It includes rankings, includes player profiles, fantastic summer league coverage, just about everything you could want if you are a Hoops fan. Go over there, share the website, spend all your day there, and you might know one day as much as Andre does. Follow us at TYC Sports, and we'll see you next time.